Welcome to Ally on the Rise. This is all about people who are chasing their dreams. Today I'm joined by someone who runs an artist promotion company and a poet slash author. Please introduce yourself, guys.
Hi, I'm Bryan J. Mangum. I am a author and I run Cyan Unison with my friend Mike Diebold.
Yeah, I'm a poet, a little bit of everything too. Anything creative we get our hands on, we try to do it and try to support as many people as possible and create a community.
I love that message. I'm trying to do the same thing on this side too, because there's so many creative people out on the island. So it's nice to know there's other people trying to help the community, you know?
Yeah, not a lot of hubs, but a lot of talent that needs to be risen up.
Yeah, a lot of people trying and not enough cohesiveness, so
It comes down to a lot of who you know. It's not like we are anyone, but we have a platform of some kind, and basically anyone can be a part of the stuff that we do.
And that's what's cool too. It's like for your artist promotion, it's like you welcome everyone. I seen your Instagram stories, you're posting bands and a lot of tattoos and original artwork. I seen artwork from a tank and
Yeah.
people like that. How do you decide what to post and how do you discover these people?
Well, a lot of them is, people I know as friends. Being in a music scene art community for years, you make a lot of connections. I was a lot of the in Cyan Unison, the mouthpiece running around, shaking hands, kissing babies, being like, oh, look at me, to get people's attention. I'm good with that. So I it's basically like a chain, a telephone. I know this person, this goes that. Long Island's like that too. Everyone's basically third cousins or some shit at this point. So I'm not picky with what I post on there. Just if somebody I think is has some cool stuff, it really doesn't matter. I post just random things on there too. Just anything you're creative about. It could be cooking, it could be roller skating, it doesn't have to be the arts.
anyone trying to get out there, we want to support. And we know how hard it is when you're trying to create something. It is not easy. So
we were, I mean, we're not a big guy now, but we were a littler guy. And, we remember people not trying to help us. I don't understand that with people. I'm always trying to reach down to pull them up with me. Everyone else is kind of very competitive, and I'm not like that. We were never like that. We didn't want to play games like that. We just wanted to build community and have a safe place for everyone to express themselves.
Right.
It becomes cliquey, unfortunately.
Yeah, we're all on the same page here, really.
If everyone on Long Island were on the same page, a lot of Long Island people will be beyond Long Island. A lot of people stay on Long Island because, they're not making connections the right way and you're shady or whatever. We just never played games and we just tried to be decent people.
Let's start jumping into your upcoming poetry book. It's called Golden Mean, and it's really cool idea. You're having different people submit poems and you're turning it into a whole book of different people's poetry. Is that the idea?
Yeah, so it's an anthology book, so it's a collection of poems by different people. When we first started Cyan in Unison back when we did our first book, which was actually 2014, our first book was the same thing. It was a collection of stuff that people have submitted, and in those years since, we've done about one book a year where we pick a theme and we kind of, we send it out there and we try to see what people want to submit in terms of their feelings and their poems. And we try to tie it all together into a cohesive narrative. So hopefully in the end, it works on a few different levels. It works as a whole. It tells a story as a whole. And then each poem itself has, that author's touch. So it tells their personal journey as well. So that's what we aim for.
And originally the first book was just from our website. People submitted to it. And then we just kind of asked them hey, we're trying to make a book. You want to be a part of it? And, a lot of people, we were 19 back then or something. And everyone we knew was around the same age. No one knew how to get published. And,
we didn't know either, but we were figuring it out. And
I mean, you had a book 10 years before that, but you had the edge on all of us. But
me not knowing what I'm doing, just shooting my shot.
You guys bringing that up. Another thing I've seen is both you guys can help publish someone's book every step of the way.
Yeah, so in the years that followed, since we first started doing books, we've also branched out and started publishing other people's poetry, and we've done all sorts of books. We've even done a few novels. We've done more.
A zine.
We did a zine once. That was cool. We've done all different genres, and we started getting, as we went further down the road, more into kind of taking on clients and working with them to see what their vision is and how we can help. So then we would meet with editors and photographers and kind of be more like, have a team, like, this is your personal creative team, like, we'll make it happen, whatever you need, stuff like that. So
Yeah, we've had people over the years, couple of teams. It wasn't just always us. At first it was us, but that's when we were like very small and we were just doing one thing at a time. And then eventually, we asked a couple of people to join, and I think we had over the course of Cyan Unison 8 members or something. I don't know.
So we published, I think we're up to book number 30.
Yeah.
Overall.
Can't believe it.
It's crazy, but we're just happy to be involved.
Is that like a difficult process to publish someone's book from scratch, or like you've done it so much it's like easy for you guys?
At this point, we could probably do it in our sleep, but if it was a novel, yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, the standard poetry book tends to be fairly simple. For the most part, people have the poems written and they just need some light editing. They need some art direction and stuff like that. So generally we kind of just pitch ideas to them and it all kind of falls into place. But, some have been definitely harder than others, especially novels and stuff like that.
Like in the beginning, we were trying to get our stuff published with other places. This wasn't always our thing. It's not like we were forced to do it, but like it's not easy to get your stuff published. Like,
no, I mean, it's easy. It's not too hard to self-publish, but people always ask, like, how do I get into physical bookstores and stuff like that? And to be honest, it's hard. Like, our books aren't in Barnes and Noble, like physical locations. Like,
they are on the site.
They are on their website, but getting them in the store is a whole different,
especially
level.
Poetry. If you go to like a Barnes and Noble, their section for poetry is pretty small.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Milk and Honey. That's it.
Milk and Honey and maybe 2 other books.
How do you guys feel about like the poetry scene on Long Island? Because like it's actually pretty big. To like my experience, I went to like some creative expo and it was all spoken word, and there was so many people lined up to go. It wasn't even like an open mic, it was like a showcase, and I was shocked, like the amount of people that were there just to do poetry and spoken words. Like how do you guys feel about like the poetry scene out here?
We've showcased before.
Yeah, we've hosted some open mic events, poetry events. There's definitely a lot of people that write poetry. You talk to anyone, and it's, I feel like most people at some point in their lives have written a poem, or 2, or even if it's a song lyrics. I mean, everything's pretty interchangeable.
I was like listening to pop punk bands, and a day to remember is like, I want to write like this. Like, I wanted to be in a band, and I realized like, no, can't do that. Let's make poetry my thing. So yeah, it's all the same thing in a sense. Yeah. Poetry, lyrics, hand in hand.
Are rappers poets?
Yes, I think 100%,
so. Yeah.
So all these guys behind me are poets.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all expression, man. It's subjective.
It is. And, they have taken basically, there's a reason why rappers are so successful, because there's, you take the lyrics, and I mean, musicians in general, but you have the beat, you have the melody, and that's carrying your words even further sometimes. But, the books, they stand up on their own because that's like the pure, unfiltered self in a way. So they're similar.
I don't know if this is true, but someone told me rap stands for rhythm and poetry.
Never heard that.
I could see it, yeah.
But I never saw like a concrete like source that says like that's real, because someone could have just made that up. But
I mean, it sounds good.
Yeah, let's just run with it. I think it's poetry.
Right? Like, rhythm and poetry.
People love, Kanye. He thinks he's a genius. Is he a genius? I don't know, but yeah.
Is he a genius?
He's on your wall.
I think he's a branding genius, which I love. I'm into branding and marketing, as you could see. So,
Yeah.
and also I'm mentally ill just like him, so I relate to him. But yeah, he's smart within his designs and his avenues of business. And his music is good too. I like his like early stuff, not like the newer stuff, but and he's also very charismatic, which I enjoy. It's hard, anyone I guess could be, a musician or a rapper, but not everyone could be a Kanye West. He's an enigma.
He goes above that because his ideas are just so. I mean,
It's a trendsetter. Remember those glasses he used to wear with they were white and they had like the lines in them. Like he's unstoppable.
I want to talk about your book, I'm Just Here. You describe it as existential poetry book.
Yes.
So what does that mean for people who don't know?
Okay, so basically the way this book, I'm Just Here, I just released it last month, and it's a collection of poems that I've written really over the past 7 or 8 years. Some of the stuff I tweaked a little bit, changed the title, switched some stuff around. But my writing style personally is I tend to write on a few different levels. So I like to write about existential things,
Introspection.
I try to avoid like the cliche topics of like unrequited love and stuff that people write about like that. For me, it's all about basically poems for an ordinary day. Like you're just sitting outside, you're staring at the clouds, you're thinking about the past, the present, and the future. Like, where am I? What am I doing? It's you're like
Psychological.
It is psychological, yeah. So it's a contemplative book. So I'm not writing about like heartbreaks and the ups and downs. It's all about just like, okay, I appreciate this moment for what it is. And thinking about stuff like that, like time and memories and how that all relates. So it really is just like, living in the moment. This is a book just to kind of put on some music and just to vibe to. So that's really what I was going for.
Do you have the book with you where you are right now?
I do, actually. I'm Just Here. It's a collection of poetry. You can buy it on Amazon. It has about 20 poems in it. So pretty excited that it's out.
Do you want to read one of your poems and give people a sample?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that would be awesome. So I'm going to read, it's actually the last poem in the book, and it references the title. So I think it sums up the whole theme of it. So this is called Roll the Credits. I'll begin this existential meditation with a philosophical proclamation that I'm just here, merely a shape in space and time. I'm just here. It all began with a big bang, but as time has passed, I witnessed the fading of the afterglow. Now I'm left with a post-traumatic lost ego. I was once suspended in air, but that soon gave way to an infinite sense of despair. And now I'm just here, a tiny speck of dust, littering rolls of film like iron tainted with rust. The reel has ended, but this projector still runs rampant as ever. I'm just here, flapping wildly against the harsh illumination, like a hatchling fallen from its nest with strong determination to break this endless cycle. But for now, I'm just here.
Golf clap. Is it a poetry clap or a golf clap? We should know.
I have no idea.
All I heard was Big Bang, and I was like,
Big Bang.
All I heard was Young Sheldon. I almost laughed.
I'm about to leave this interview.
It's my own fault.
It sounds very slightly philosophical, like pondering existence. And I'm not gonna lie, I had to look up existential, and it like it has to do with like existence and realm of reality. And thank you, Google. But it sounds very you're observing and you're just kind of taking it all in. And it's deep, but it's not too deep.
Right. I like to think that it's still accessible. to
Hmm.
people.
But yeah, man,
If it's too introspective, it will be, dread.
Right.
so what gravitates you towards poetry? Like, why not just write a normal book? Like, why? What is about poetry where you're like, this is for me?
Hmm. Well, that is a tough question because I actually didn't really write too much poetry up until we started Cyan Unison. And then I kind of got into it more. So I don't really consider myself a poet per se, because I do like to write all different types of things. I think my next project, I actually want to write a screenplay or something along that line. But for poetry, I do like poetry because it's shorter, it can be any length, and you can tell a story that kind of works on a few different levels. So, when I like to write personally, and everyone's different, but I usually like to veil my own personal issues under a narrative itself. So, like when I write poems, they kind of work on a few different levels, so that even if you don't know me, um, you still can appreciate them on their own. But that's what I like about poetry, the fact that there's no rules really. You can kind of just make it as long or short as you want, and it's done. It's there. You release it. So
If you're gonna pursue being an author and a poetry author, it's kind of good having a poetry book because like I don't think people even have the attention span to read a full book. So if each page is a different poem, I'm satisfied because we live in a very bite-sized content world, whether it's Instagram or TikTok or a book, everything is micro now. You know what I mean?
100%.
So it's like
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
gonna pursue it, I think you're going a good direction, bro. Because people have no attention span anymore.
People cannot sit.
I try to rewind to real life sometimes because I'm on YouTube so much hitting that button. I'll be
Yeah.
just doing something like tedious, and I'll just think like, oh, like go forward, skip forward. I'm like, oh, this is not
No,
the
straight up.
technology.
I watch YouTube videos at like 2x speed because I'm like, I need to cram as much as possible. And I think that's the world we're living in.
Like live TV, I'll try to skip commercials. Like,
Yeah.
no, I can't do that.
I mean, that comes in handy.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. It's just like so much is happening all at once that who has time? Most people don't have time to read a whole novel. I know I don't. So that's kind of why it works, I think.
That's also what's good about Cyan Unison, because we never got bored because we were always doing different things at once.
Yeah, we always had 10, 12 projects.
Do a book here while also doing a music show. Then also we have an open mic plan. Like we were busy, very busy each month.
Yeah.
For Water the Soil, like what is the goal? Like to just grow as big as it could be, or like millions followers? And
I don't know. I do it just as a passion project for myself because the my part of Cyan Unison was a lot of branding and marketing. And it's one of the only things I feel like I'm good at. And I'm good at making connections, and I like helping people. It gives me purpose. So it's not like I tried to make this, like Cyan Unison was kind of businessy in a way. We were trying to make it a business, and it could have been if we kept going, but also, we were worn down because we had so many things going on. It was hard. We ended like 2 months before Corona. It was actually like a weird coincidence. We didn't actually lose that much time being.
We didn't lose anything at all.
Yeah, the 2 years, everyone was locked inside. We couldn't do anything anyway. So it would have been on hiatus anyway.
Yeah. So now that it's over, we've figured let's pick it back up and really, though, focus on our roots with it. So that's why, us coming back, we're focusing on this book mostly. And then Mike's going to take some of the other stuff on his end, and I'm going to take some of the other stuff on my end, so that we have, joint projects, but also our own identities as well.
I feel like you guys need like 2 more dedicated, solid, passionate members just like you guys to like.
Oh, we've had those over the years. It's also hard because people just like us don't have that much time to do stuff like this. And if it's not like a job, like when you can pay them well so they can survive, it's hard for them to give you the time.
Yeah.
We pay people, obviously, but it's hard. It's not enough money to survive. So It's hard. Like we're approaching 30, unfortunately. We've done this for 10 years. Like back then when we were young, everyone had time because we were young and there was summers and stuff like that.
It was easier.
Yeah.
Now we're older, you know, bills to pay. It's like, you know, we have other stuff going on. It gets harder, but we're trying to still make things happen and not let it die. So
I think both Cyan Unison at the end, it's a good thing and a bad thing. We were trying too hard to grow. We were growing substantially and it was great, but you know, it also sets up failure and expectations that we had and felt bad about it. And I don't miss that. I like what we're doing, just one book for now and whatever comes in the future. We've floated a couple of things. We don't know what's going to happen, but we have our other things for now just to, you know, get our rocks off and do what we want to do.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing anything for like 2 years of like creative. I was like kicking a wall, like, oh my God, I got to do something. I was like begging, let's bring it back.
Yeah. And the thing is that, you know, both of us we're just creative people. So whether it's under Cyan Unison or Water the Soil or any other label, we're still going to be making stuff. It's just, you know, kind of figuring out what brand do we want to use for what project.
Exactly.
So instead of just trying to do everything, we're a little bit more careful now about, okay, we're going to use Water the Soil for art and we're going to use Cyan Unison for books. And maybe I want to get into filmmaking or something like that, just whatever it is, you know.
And we still help each other with each other's things. If he wants like somebody to publish and they come up to me thinking they want to do a Cyan Unison, he wants to do it himself or whatever, I'll throw it to him, whatever. He's going to help. He's going to help me with my art shows. Like we're still, it's almost like the same thing.
It's the same thing.
And also like not through any of these companies, we help our friends like Elisa and Mike Scroll and Fernando with like behind the scenes things of how to like, you know, launch their music and stuff like that. We just do that just because like we sit around doing nothing and just like all we do is think about stuff like this.
Yeah, we hang out with our friends, and by the way, they're all amazing artists. The 3 or 4 of them that we just mentioned.
Yeah, Mike Scroll lives like 5 feet away. He's on Bryan's property.
Yeah, he's a tenant, so you know, we're super close and just super helping each other out, and that's our goal.
At one point, we had we called it Cyan Unison the band. We were joking, and it was Elisa and Mike Scarola. Elisa wasn't really doing anything besides I guess like Five Towns College things, and we put them together in a band, an acoustic band called the Wilts, and it was great. We helped them record and stuff. They went through a million demos, whatever, but eventually it happened and it was great. And I want for them to come back. Great people.
Wishful thinking.
Very, very. They got their own things. Elisa has her new single that dropped not that long ago. Lated is doing very well with his EP.
That's Mike Scroll's
band. He also has Shore Break. They've been on like Long Island for doing pop punk shows for 10 years. That's basically how I met him and Cyan Unison and Shore Break, I guess, like to me are intertwined because I created Cyan Unison at the same time as I met those guys. So I have a tattoo where it says SIU SBK. Like it means a lot to me.
Between the two of you, because you guys got a lot going on, what is the goal?
Ooh, this is a hard-hitting question.
To make what happen? You guys are making all these moves, all these plans, all these ideas. You're super creative, but the end result is what?
For me, it's just to promote as much as possible till somebody makes it. I want to see everyone make it, to be successful. Everyone else, I feel like they care about themselves first. I'm very not like that. I want to see people succeed over me. I want to help them succeed. That's what I care about. It's not going to be a business where it's about making money for me. It's just about, you know, trying to grow people.
Yeah. I would say similar to what Mike's saying, I would love to come up with some kind of platform. I'm really not sure what it is, if it's going to be some kind of event space where we do shows, or is it a website or an app or something. But what I really want to do is have some kind of production company that makes all sorts of media. So from here, you know, we did books, we've done art shows. I want to keep branching out. I want to produce, maybe we produce TV shows or short films or podcasts, and tie everything together. Something that we could just say, what do you need to make your vision come to life? Like, this is our production house. We have the people. We want to like see your dreams come true, and that makes us happy as well.
Yes.
And just have this community together.
The way I thought about and pitched this to him as a creative collective, and it's related to rap. Odd Future did a little bit of everything, and I saw that and I was like, oh my God, like these are just people my age. They have their own merch, they have their own everything. I was like, this is incredible. It was so inspiring, and no one was doing it, so I was like, let's try.
Do you critique your friends' poems?
I do, but I don't like to, because I don't even like what I write. It's more of just like an emotional dump. And, all art is subjective. Some people have different ways of, expressing themselves. I'll say maybe you should use this word instead of this word, because some people use too many, those or this or that, get rid of some of stuff like that. But I don't go too hard on it, because like, who am I to say that their stuff is bad? I'm not like what's the person who made Milk and Honey, the rupee, whatever. I'm not like, I have no clout like that. No, I'm not like that. And I wouldn't be like that anyway if I had that success, because it's subjective. It has to be subjective art. And if they're proud of it and they're happy with it, I'm happy for them, and I will publish it for them.
But Bryan, do you ask for that at all? Or like, who do you go to be like, hey, like, I want to get someone's feedback on this before I put it out there? Do you go to anyone?
We actually, that's actually what we're doing this week, since we're still collecting submissions for the book.
Yes, please submit.
But we do have a team. We have a few people that we've been showing the poems to, and we're going to come up with a joint decision on what makes it into the book and what doesn't, based on our theme. I think we're on the same page. We try to be as accepting and open as possible.
Always.
We really hate rejecting stuff, but every so often, and it really doesn't happen too much, but sometimes there are poems that are just like super elementary, or they're, way off base, like politically, or just for whatever reason, it doesn't mesh with what we're going for. So we try to give like feedback. Maybe they can change it or tweak some things,
or send something else. We always say send multiple things.
Yeah.
So some things can be a little too graphic. I don't mind that. I'm a horror fan, but like, it's some things like, it's not going to be, we want to have timeless books, not like your mom picking up our book. She doesn't want to read about something very violent, I don't think.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
So I'm not.
We don't want to trigger warning.
No, exactly too. We're not trying to upset people. As much as the music I listen to and stuff like that has that crap, like I'm not trying to do that. No. And political, yeah.
We haven't really gotten too much.
No,
of that,
I like tiny bit try to do a little bit of that, because I have a big mouth, and I have OCD, and it's all just like injustice in my head, and I'll get upset, but I'll be subtle about it. We're not very political people. We don't, no.
Yeah, no, like we don't want to stifle anyone's creativity or vision, but at the same time, if it's like totally off base and it's not going to be a good look, then we try to stay with things that are a little more evergreen, so to speak.
No, if someone just submits like a love poem about Trump, that might have to be rejected.
Yeah,
that might be biased, but
please don't mention Trump.
No, but you guys are right. It can't be just a big free for all. There has to be some kind of structure,
right?
And standard.
Yeah.
And
the other thing is, we don't want to date the book too much. When you start mentioning too much pop culture or politics, or Jeff Bezos, if you're reading this book years down the road.
I think I mentioned it in the poem. I don't know. You looked it over. I don't remember
that, but you know what I mean? Like, we try to keep it on, like Mike said, kind of timeless.
So when you're writing your poetry, what's your writing process like?
See, I'm a very emotional person. So when I get into my feels and be like Drake, and I'll just like I'm just like that, and then I'll edit afterwards. I'll just get the thoughts out and then start, playing around with rhymes and bigger words. So I released like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 books in my life, but I was young when I did that. And like I said before, I have a big mouth. So I literally have a book called Not So Subtle, because I don't care what I say. Well, as you grow older, you do. So now I'm re-releasing all those books, just a little cleaned up a little bit. Because some things are kind of cringe that I said back then, because I thought I was like, yeah, no one's saying it but me. But it's like, no, shut the fuck up, old me. Like, no. So all the books that are on Amazon are going to get a facelift, and by the end of the year will be re-released. Because if someone has to read my poetry, I would like it to be the best poetry that I have.
When I write poems, which I definitely don't write as much as Mike does. Mike is a super prolific writer. He just cranks this shit out. But
Not too much anymore.
No?
Because, well, it comes to a point where you've written just about every topic where you just don't want to write. Like, I need something new to happen or something to. Can someone break my heart or something? One of the viewers, like, get my fire started.
Break his heart. Bring him down a notch.
Yeah. So if something like upset me or something, it makes me want to write again. I write emotionally, not just because I want to write poetry. That was never the goal.
Yeah. Yeah. So like when I write, I tend to start with an idea. So I'll have like some sort of concept, something that interests me or some kind of feeling, basically a lot of times it'll start like, I'm just going through it. I'm experiencing something. And then I sit with it. I write it down, and I don't actually work on the poem, but I'll revisit it and try to come up with a story. So, it works on a few different levels. And then from there, I just keep building, and it's kind of a slow process. Because I tend to write very specific. And that's why it took 8 years to come out with this book here, because I really don't write that much. I write maybe 1 or 2 a year, and that's good for me. So it's a little bit more deliberate, but I like to think that it kind of tells a story.
When we were doing a lot of the poetry, like writing it, Bryan and Cyan Unison, like I feel like he's born to be a curator. That's like his thing. I feel like that will what you'll end up doing. I don't know how or what, but you'll do it.
Yeah, that would be cool. I feel like the way we work with each other, I tend to focus on a lot of the hands-on, putting it together, like giving the structure.
He's structure, and I need structure because I'm manic. But I'm like,
but
yay!
You're the mouthpiece. Yeah, we need that because I'm like so busy, just like organizing everything that we need you to bring people in to
let me off the leash and I go.
Get the megaphone out, just start yelling.
I always tell most of because I have a lot of music artists on here, and I tell most of them, I'm like, look, if you're not outgoing and you're a shy person, this is going to be very hard for you.
Yeah.
Like definitely. You need to talk to people. You like you were saying before, shaking hands, kissing babies.
Yes.
Business cards. Like if you perform your music on stage and then you're just quiet in the back of the bar, this is going to be a hard journey for you.
I saw, being in the music scene for so long, it's a lot of that. And it sucks because a lot of people get unnoticed because they may have social anxiety or something, right, or have, low confidence. It's a shame. Not everyone's going to be plucked and be an industry plant, and just get their theme around their music. You got to work for it.
Well, that's the thing. It's sad, but personality is such a big draw. I mean,
personality is more draw than the art.
Yeah. It's almost like, you have to be talented, but even more so, you have to be outgoing. And, unfortunately, it is who you know. So the more people
we've learned that the hard way. We have a lot of music industry friends who work in the city, and just like the stuff you hear, I hate stuff like that, the business aspect. I like the arts and the expression, the good feelings. I would hate to be under someone's umbrella. We're under our own umbrella, which I love.
We've got to know you in a creative sense, but I want to get to know you more on a personal level. So please explain to me how someone gets 2 speeding tickets in one night.
You did your research, my man.
I'm glad, you're like Nardwar. I'm glad that I nuked all my social medias.
Wow. Okay. So you must have went on my Twitter or okay.
You must have searched your Twitter and on one of those websites with top tweets because people gave that attention because you're an idiot.
I am an idiot. Okay. So basically, I don't know. I like to drive. I love driving. And, I'm always in a rush. So those two things going together, sometimes, I'm going a little over the speed limit. So I decided to go out to Montauk And that is the place you should just not speed ever. There are cops everywhere. So the first speeding ticket was when the highway ended, as you probably have been out there, where Sunrise ends and then there's lights and stuff. And the speed limit goes from like 55 to 35. And they got me there. And then I'm like, oh, I'm good, you know, with my friends. We're just chatting, having a good time. And next thing I know, another cop pulls me over. And yeah, that fucked me up. I had to get a lawyer and cost me, I think, over $1,000 because I didn't want that on my record. And that's my story to tell.
You drive one of those fast looking cars, so they're looking at you anyway.
They are looking at me. I got tinted windows. You know, they're like, they have their telescope. I have like a red X on my back.
So like the first speeding ticket, I understand. I've got one in the past. I'm sure mostly everyone has gotten one. But after you get the ticket and you're like, oh shit, you know, you kind of drive a little better. So the second one, you weren't like more aware of like, okay, let me like concentrate more. You know what I mean?
You know, for whatever reason, and let me tell you, I was 100% sober. I do not drink and drive or do drugs and drive. I think I was having like a very manic day where I was very stressed out. And I think that was coming out in my driving. I don't know what was going through my head. I really don't.
I just think you're a speed racer and you got blown twice, and that's
I
what it
did.
is. But I appreciate the reference that you caught. That's amazing.
That's amazing for digging that up. I mean,
Do you work for Nardwuar?
I have another little personal thing I want to throw out there. So you're creative with the poetry, but you also do DJing for fun.
that is true. Yes, yes.
What-
I dabble with DJing. I don't think I've ever played a gig professionally. I actually have it right in my room here when I'm home. I just love, it's fun. I'm not like musically inclined in any way, which I wish I was, because, you know, I just like to create and make things. But DJing is like a way I can just listen to music and just vibe. And, you know, I don't do it for anyone. I don't even post the mixes. I just dance in my room and play music, you know? So I have fun with it.
You ever go to a show like that?
Like just strictly DJ?
Yeah, like electronic.
I saw a DJ at Webster Hall, but it's like you need to make your own good time, if that
Yeah.
makes
Who did
any
you
sense.
see?
It wasn't a big name. I don't know the name. It was a very long time ago, but it's
Yeah.
like it's weird. Like okay, if you go see a band, you kind of like vibe with everything going on. But when you see like an electric type DJ,
Yeah.
if you're not the life of the party, then nothing's gonna do it for you. Like people are not gonna come up to you, or you know what I
Right.
mean? It's
He's
a
brought
very
me to a couple, and that's not my thing. And you remember the haunted Coliseum? Have you heard of that?
oh my god, yes, I've heard. The
We
tragedy, the
Yes.
tragedy of the haunted.
They
Yes.
landed a helicopter.
We are survivors.
Oh my
that
God.
was interesting.
Literally, I don't know how Nassau Coliseum let so many minors in drunk. Like
Everyone was 12 with cans of Four Loko in their hands.
And it's a Halloween show, and he's dressed up, I think, as Steve from Blue's Clues, and I'm Pee Wee Herman, and we're walking through trying to get out of Nassau Coliseum, and it's like a swamp of puke.
People are getting blown in the bathroom, like literal children.
And that's my first experience to the concerts. He's like, no, you have to go to another one.
Yeah, that was a bad first impression.
No,
That
to
was.
me, I like having weird experiences, so I love that I went to that. In the moment, no, but it's funny to think about.
And was that like the first and last one they ever did?
They have not done another EDM show at the Coliseum, I don't think.
Yeah, they fucked up.
Yeah. Well, the thing was, there was like no age limit on it, I don't think.
We were online, and it sounds like I'm like making a joke, but it's all just young kids and falling over like dominoes, and it's like SpongeBob with the fishes running in with the fucking like the.
There were ambulances out there before the show even started, because people were on drugs. They like literal kids. They were fucked up.
These kids were cooler than me, man, and I was like 20 or something.
Yeah, like the show didn't even start, right?
We only saw
An
like
hour.
yeah.
An hour. And then
I saw Alesso. Yeah, I know one.
yeah, and we saw 10 minutes of someone else. Was it like Calvin Harris or something?
I don't know. And then we went to one. I don't remember the venue.
I think it was in the city.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. It was pretty empty, but that's because the DJ Eric whatever was going on pretty late, and then we just kind of got cranky and just left.
Yeah.
Before we wrap it up, just let everybody know where they can follow you guys.
So you can follow us at Cyan Unison. That's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can follow me personally at Bryan J. Mangum on all the same social medias.
Water the Soil on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and then Spooky Dookie Podcast is Spooky Dookie Pod on TikTok, and the rest of it is just Spooky Dookie Podcast, I believe, just for everything else. Oh no, Twitter's Spooky Dookie _.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. This is really fun.
I was telling him in the car, I was like, I feel like we're a different vibe, and I was hoping that you would like fuck with it because we're a lot.
We didn't know what to expect either, but thanks so much for having us on this episode tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you guys. Shout out to you guys.
Thank you so much.